Good morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time of day it might be for you. Welcome back to Naturally Case in Point, and I'm your talk forum host, Miss Nat. And in this forum, you know that naturally is you. Case in point today will be you and let's just say death, because that's what we're talking about is death here. Nobody gets out of here alive, and without life, there is no death, and without death, there is no life. So they kind of complement each other. It's just that when it happens, it's never good for us naturally. We never feel really good about it because, let's face it, we're losing a loved one. We're losing someone very near and dear to us a lot of times. And a lot of times, I can only speak from a place of experience. And my experience, it's when you don't have closure is when it's really painful, when the loved one just suddenly dies and there's no apparent reason why. No physical trauma or anything. They just internally something happens. A car accident, you can see that and understand why. But when your loved one is walking around okay and then the next minute they're gone, that's not a good place. And I've gotten that third call. They say death comes in three. Well, I've gotten a third call of a friend that died just the other day, and he was relatively well. He went to work. He did everything he was supposed to do. He didn't miss any work. But yet, one day he said he couldn't breathe and went to the hospital and never came home. And that is a death that my friend, she's going to have to really deal with that because there was no closure there. A lot of you lose children like that. No closure. You're not okay with them dying, but on top of it, there's no closure, and that's where the pain and the mourning sets in. You're already in pain, but when you don't have closure with it, that's mourning. And I can only speak from a place of my own experience with my dad. Over 23 years, 24 years ago, he died. And we didn't know he was going to die. We just found him dead. But 6 months prior, my mom had died. Now, we knew she was dying, and we were kind of okay with that because that was the expectancy of her Alzheimer's, and she just was deteriorating. But my dad, 6 months later, he died. And the feelings that I had at that time, it was like I was an orphan. I mean, really, I was in my 40s, but I felt like an orphan and with no closure. And you can feel this way no matter who you are. If you don't have closure, it's just hard for you. But on today, I've time is kind of taken care of some things, but I've learned how to um, turn the morning into a wonderful memory. For my brother passed last year, 2017, and so we were looking at it like, wow, he passed. Now, he was the first boy in the family to die out of seven children. And so we're looking at each other and we're like, wow, he died. And we're sorry for the loss. But when it hits home, it makes you think, which one of us are next? And instead of thinking that, because that's what I was kind of consumed with, and even with my parents' death of 20 years ago, I had to start thinking of it in terms of quit mourning, quit mourning, quit mourning. It hurts, but turn mourning into a memory, turn it into a pleasant memory. For me and my brother liked Double Dutch Bus, that song. I don't know who made it, but that was him. If you see him, you would know why. But he loved that song. And he used to drink. Okay? So I remember him getting his drink on and dancing the Double Dutch Bus. And now he was the type of person, he was a free spirit, didn't bother anybody, but he goed where the liquor flowed. That was him. He loved to drink. And with that, he always seemed to make friends. And so I remember him for that. I miss him, but I'm not mourning him like in a lost state, because when they say gone and not forgotten, that's what it means for you to carry them on in memory, love in memory. not in the morning crying of why they gone, because you already know that with life comes death. Everybody's going to have to leave here. So if we try to turn this around and look at it from the point of, wow, look at what they did when they were here. Look at what they did. They did this, they did that, or who they were. For my dad and myself, I like to think of him when I'm making turkey and dressing. Before he passed away, that was the meal he wanted me to cook. He said, "Can you make some turkey wings and dressing for me?" And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I'll bring it over Sunday." But Sunday came and left, and he never got that meal. But in memory of him, I've learned to make that and be okay with that memory, because that's where loved ones live on, and they live intensely in the memory that you carry for them. For some of us, you might have a relative that like to wear the color pink or purple, or you might know them to love to bake. Whatever you knew them to like to do, implement it and do it, because that's where they live. I have a grandma, I have her recipe, and this is how she lives. I remember her, but that cake recipe she left me, that's working for me. It works in my catering business. So when I think about my grandma, I think about the things she left me that I can use on today. Think about the things that the people that are gone, they have left you, whether it's memories, recipes, pictures, or even sayings, words or things they used to say. This is how they live. This is how they live through you. And they continue to live eons of time, because eons of in time, because you will uphold their memory. Your grandchildren will remember that, and it'll carry on. It don't stop just because they're gone. They're gone, but they are not forgotten naturally. Naturally, you don't forget them. But a lot of us hold on to them in mourning. And you can't do that and constantly live. Do you think your loved one would want you to sit in mourning over them? A lot of them would say, "Don't do that. Smile. Remember when we used to do such and such?" They will bring you back to a place of happiness and not sorrow naturally. I don't think they'd want to see us doing that, but yet a lot of us mourn, and there's nothing wrong with mourning, but sometimes we mourn forever. And that's not life naturally. And that's not the life they would choose for you to live naturally after they're gone. So naturally, when you're finished mourning, turn that into a place of memory and hold on to it, because that's them living through you naturally. Naturally, on today, someone is having a birthday. I know this. Naturally, you have a wonderful birthday, and thank you for taking your time with us at Naturally Case in Point, and we will talk to you next time.